G'day folks, it's Rob here, and in today's video we're going to be planting out some spuds in the aquaponics system behind me here. So root crops are generally not what most people think of when they think of aquaponics. You know, generally things like the leafy greens, the kohlrabi there, we've got a little lettuce hiding away there, cabbage, and even herbs like thyme and basil. I think the main thing that scares people away is the beds tend to be moist a lot of the time. Because you either run a flood and drain or a constant flood grow bed, and I do know potatoes tend to rot out in wet soil. Fruiting crops like tomatoes and peppers and things like that, capsicums, they grow really well. So what I thought I'd do is have a crack at growing some potatoes in my repurposed bathtub worm farm. We're not going to have a worm farm as such, standalone in the new garden set up down the back. The beds themselves will be the worm farms. So I thought I might as well repurpose this because it's already on a stand. I've actually had to raise it up quite a bit so the drain will fall down into the sump. So I thought today's video will run through how I'm going to plumb it up and then how I am going to plant out the spuds themselves, the little seed spuds we have chitting away. So the way I'm thinking of plumbing this up is, just to let you know, I've had to cover up a couple of breaches in the paintwork there just with some fish-friendly silicone, aquarium grade, just so it doesn't rust out. Not that I think it would be an issue, but this plug assembly is going to cause a few issues. What I'm planning on doing is having this as a constant flow bed, so there'll be a small layer of water constantly across the base. So to stop that from forming algae and going all manky, I'm going to have some clay balls in here just to shield it from the sun, as we do in the normal flood and drain beds. But this little drain attachment here poses a few issues. If I put shade cloth over the top to screen the balls out, the clay balls, they can, smaller ones can work their way in there and cause issues. So what I thought I'd do is actually remove that and replace it with a, just a bulkhead fitting, a 40mm or 1.5 inches with a, I think it's called a foot valve screen over the top there, I could be wrong. And what that's going to do is just stop the clay balls from blogging up the pipework that will be running back into the sump. And that pipework will run just from that drain area there, just straight across into our sump tank underneath this grow bed. Now, this is going to be a pretty easy build, so we'll get the plumbing bit sorted first, and then I'll walk you through what I'm doing with the actual grow pouches themselves to grow the spuds. So first off, we've got to take out this drain fitting. Hope I'm not going to bump the camera too much. So I'm just going to leave that foot valve screen on the bulkhead fitting. Use the drain washer down the bottom there. Pop the bulkhead washer on top. Hold that in place and just do up the nut underneath. And I don't think I'll need any wrenches or anything to try and make this watertight. That should do a pretty good job. And there we go, that's the top half of the drain assembly done. So just give you a bit of a look at the basic setup here on my little mobile bench, aka ironing board. We have the bulkhead fitting, obviously not the one in the bathtub, a threaded fitting to slip that goes to the 1.5 inch or 40mm pipe, a section of pipe to join it onto this 90-degree elbow, and then the pipe out towards the sump tank. So I'll just show you basically how I do it to give you folks a bit of an idea. Just take out my little bit of pipe here, get the Teflon tape and wrap it around the pipe so a little bit goes over the top edge, and yeah, not too many. I find you don't need a lot on there, and then basically all you need to do is just push that in to the fitting, and that will generally create a very nice watertight seal. And then with the drill, and then I just zap through the 316 stainless steel screw, and that is enough to stop it from coming undone and also make sure that it's nice and watertight. So I'm not going to fix this one in place yet. What I'll do is I'll wait until this is screwed on, then I'll take it over, push this fitting on, zap the hole through, and then put the screw in. But this one here, I will wrap with the tape and give the same treatment. This one here, if any, is probably the most likely one to leak, mainly because there will be water sitting in it for a fair amount of time. Just try and screw it on. There we go. Pick up the swarf. Now just run through this little 316 stainless jobby. There we go. Now we're underneath the bed. Time to put it all together. This bit's pretty easy. As I mentioned, I'm not going to worry about any tape here to make it watertight, because that water will be flowing straight past this joint here and I don't think it'll make its way up through the threads to leak. So we'll put this up as high as we can. There, so that old Teflon tape there would give it some sort of waterproofing as well. That'll do. Now this section here is our pipe with the screw in it. What we need to do with this one here is just push him up. So now we have this in place. Pretty easy. Let's see if I can catch this swath. There we go. And you just need to run through the 316. And that's the drain all sorted. Now onto the water into the bed. So in the theme of reusing odds and ends from around the place, I'm using some hose work from older systems to get the water into this bed. So what we've got is just a line of 1 inch or 25mm pipe, and it will splice down into that line there that delivers water to the grow bed on top of the sump tank there. So we've just crawled in under the bed here. Going to try and drain the water out of this without making too much of a mess. Shouldn't be too much. Now what we need to do is pop on some hose clamps before I forget, because that's always very embarrassing when you do that. So there you go, that might help. You can actually see. There we go, it's those two on. Now for the last one. Just had to change angle there, sorry folks. Just couldn't get this hose on. But yeah, just screwing it on generally does the trick. We've got enough over the barb there now to tighten up this hose clamp. That should do it. Just need to do these other two now, and then we can make sure the plumbing's all watertight. So here we go folks. Sorry if it's a little bit bright down in there, but we have the water dispersal or outlet there, just a T with a couple of bits of hose on it that will sit at the end grow bag here. Just a little bit of a 90-degree elbow to get the water around the corner. Then we come back to a valve, again all 25mm or 1 inch, and we have a hose clamp on the pressure side of the valve. So we'll turn this main line on, hear everything gurgle. But now we'll turn this valve on and get a bit of water flowing through here. So we have the water running down there through the screen, and we'll just hop underneath and see if there's any leaks. Doesn't appear to be any leaks from there, so that's good. And the water is flowing through to the sump, and we do have that one leak to fix there, which looks like it's coming from that top hose clamp and yeah, just dribbling down. So I'll sort that out, and then we can look at starting to plan out the spuds. So just a quick reminder folks that I do have that Aquaponics Beginners guide available. There will be a link down in the description, and one will pop up at the end of the video as well, to a web page that gives you a more in-depth explanation on what it is. Thank you very much to all you folks who have purchased it already. I really do appreciate the support, and not only that, you guys get a very useful guide that you can, you know, wander around your system and use when you need it. Just also too, it is $9.95 US for you folks who are asking. Apparently I left that out of a previous video. So that's enough of that. Let's get planting some spuds. So just to give you a bit of a rundown on the mediums I will be growing in, we're going to be growing 1 pouch worth in just a normal potting mix, and then another pouch in some coconut coir, which is what I've seen other people say they've grown potatoes in, but I haven't ever actually seen a harvest, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And clay pebbles. So clay doesn't wick very well, but I'll get into that in a little while and explain what I'm doing with that one. And down the bottom of all the pouches, I will be having a sand wick. Now the reason being is sand wicks water very well, and I don't want a lot of organic matter, especially the potting mix in particular, and also the coir, sitting in water for a prolonged period of time. Not a lot of air will get to the center of that organic matter, and it could quite easily go anaerobic or anoxic, lack of oxygen, and breed you know, bad bacteria that could eventually rot the spud. So I thought I'd play it safe. Sand's inert, it'll wick the water up to where it needs to be. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to be using in the pouches. And just quickly, these seed potatoes that I will be planting out today, they're just store-bought ones that I set aside and just let them chit. So as you can see, there's some rather large growths on some of them, so they probably should have gone out a while back, but yeah, I'm pretty sure they will take off just fine. So that's enough about the spuds and the medium. Let's go and plan out the pouches. So to begin with, we're going to do the coconut bag. What I'm looking for is probably around about 2 inches or 50 millimeters of sand in the base of these pouches, just so a lot of the organic matter just isn't sitting in the water. So this sand is pretty much what I like to use in the base of all our wicking beds, so I know it does the job and it will bring moisture up to the medium and the potatoes. Plus, I dare say some roots from the potatoes will grow down into this sand as well. So might be a bit hard for you to see, but I think I've got around about 2 inches worth in there. So basically with this one, all I'm going to do is put a thin layer of the cocoa peat over the base there. So I just realised it's a bit hard to see from the tripod, but I've added in around about 1 inch of the coconut coir. And then all I'm going to do is pop in 2 seed potatoes like this. One there and one towards the other side. And then just cover them with the cocoa peat. I'm not going to fill the whole pouch. All I'm going to do is probably cover them with about 4 inches or 10 centimeters worth, and then when the green shoots grow through, I'll come in and top it up all the way to the top of the pouch. That's the cocoa peat one, pretty much all sorted. So the next one we're doing is the soil one. So we'll just put that bottom 50 mil or 2 inches worth of sand down there. I think that's pretty much all it. Then on top of that, I'm just going to add a couple of handfuls of the potting mix, and then we'll pop in our 2 seed spuds. And then we'll try to one-handedly shake in some soil, probably get it all over the concrete here. And that one there is right to go into the bed. So now we're right to do the clay media one. Hopefully yeah, this is going to turn out all right because we're losing sunlight. So what I'm going to do with this one is a little bit different. I'm just using these little cups filled with sand, little pots. I'll put a little bit more in there. I'm using them as little wicking towers, so to speak, for the spuds to sit on. There we go. I hope you folks can make that out. They're basically just going to sit next to each other like that. And then I'm going to fill in, if I can grab my little cup, around them with the clay media, because I see no point in using sand down the base if I don't have to. The water will be wicking up through those centre columns. So I hope you can make that out, folks. My 2 little sand pillars, and then just going to put the seed spuds directly on top of them, and then gently cover them with the clay. Just going to try and pour the clay down one side so I don't damage the little sprouts. So again, just covering them around about 2 inches or so, and then I'll come back and top it up once the greenery grows through. So I'm just starting the water flow here, just to give you some idea on the flow. We'll probably, there we go, I think that's pretty much all it. Now, just need to fill up all these gaps so the sunlight doesn't create an algae issue. Now the only reason I'm using this clay is because I have a couple of beds worth of clay from my parent system when we took it down. You could use rock as well, as long as it doesn't have a lot of carbonates in it, just like a normal grow bed medium. The reason being is it may play around with your pH down the road. So there we go, folks, we have the 3 pouches in there. You can just see the top of the drain. The one down this end is the coconut coir. Then we have the potting mix or dual root zone, depending on which way you want to look at it. I'm mainly saying that because there is a root zone that will have direct access to nutrients from the aquaponics, plus all the nutrition within the potting mix. And then we have one that is growing in the clay media. And up the top here, you can see I've buried the inlet pipe. So I'm pretty happy with the way it went together. Potatoes has just been one of those things. People have always said, why can't you grow potatoes in aquaponics? I know people have said that they do and recommended that you can using coconut coir, this stuff here in particular. But to tell you the truth, I've never seen any harvest, but then again, I've never really gone looking either. These guys here, it will be take a while for them to produce, but by the time these guys are ready to harvest, hopefully the rest of this landscaping here will be done, and we'll have be ready to put some lawn seed down here, and down the back will all be sorted. and we can start to dismantle this aquaponics system so we can move it to its eventual home. So that's it for these spuds for now. I will let you know though that I do have some other seed spuds aside. I think I've got another 2 or 3 as well as these 2 that will be going into a root pouch up on our deck. That will be sitting on a little wicking tray, just to give us a bit of a comparison between these guys and some soil grown ones like the ones I harvested last week. So they will be, these guys and that will be featured in video clips down the line. So if you want to suss them out, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and then jump on over to the bell icon if you want notification from YouTube when those videos are uploaded. Also too, once these have grown and if it's successful, a growing potatoes in aquaponics module will be added to our guide as well. So yeah, keep an eye out for that in a couple of months down the track. And yeah, if you do want to check out our guide, there will be a link that pops up at the end and down the bottom. It's $9.95 US for you folks who are interested in learning aquaponics. I would like to thank you all for coming along and sussing out the videos and thumbing them up and leaving your comments down below. I really do appreciate talking to you folks. Also to you folks who are supporting us through the YouTube membership program and our Farm Your Own Yard member site. Thank you very much. We really do appreciate the support. But I will pretty much all leave it there. I do hope you're all well and happy and your aquaponics and gardens are booming, and I will catch you next video. Cheers folks, and happy growing.